what were we talking about a second ago? Something.
Earth Crisis.
Oh yeah, I don't have a problem with Earth Crisis. They're just not my favorite band. But if I'm gonna go out there and be able to document this and film this, I should film Earth Crisis. Honestly, I used to like them all right. I just never got into the metallic music much, man.
Look, I haven't listened to them like probably. Well, I say that. I'll come back to it, but like, so my friend falls off the wagon.
Oh, that's what we were talking about.
And I'd sobered up, and then all of our mutual friends were like supplying him.
That's fun.
Which ticked me off.
Yeah.
So I kind of like introverted myself and just started listening to a bunch of straight edge hardcore.
There you go. That's weird, dude. I can't imagine you listening to that.
And that's how Earth Crisis was like Firestorm EP.
In rotation. That
Firestorm EP was just on repeat. Like,
dude, that's awesome.
But yeah.
We're gonna show you guys that Misfits album. We're gonna clean it here in a little bit too. Whenever, man. I'm not in a big hurry, but yeah, dude. I like Integrity a lot. I like Ringworm quite a bit. I don't know why I like those bands, but I think I do kind of know why. They have like these. Still, they have this like real punk riffs.
Yeah,
within
a little
their music.
bit more melody, maybe.
Yeah, and their songs and their production is not super polished. It's still really nice. It's very good. I would call it like A+ even, but like it's not like overly polished. Where if you listen to some metal stuff, the drums sound like a robot, even though you're like that's a guy playing it. I know that because I know the band. But it doesn't sound like it because they have one of those little things on there that no matter how hard you hit it, it gives you the same. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. I want to hear some imperfections because I want humanity in my music.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what back then, Sick of It All too. There was a live Sick of It All record, and
it's a good band. Shout out Lou.
One of the tracks was actually recorded in my hometown.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is crazy because nobody ever came.
Yeah, that's a small town, right? What's it? The one where?
It's right on the boys, McAllen. But it's like it's kind of like a big town now. I wouldn't call it a small city, but maybe a big town. But like when I left, there was maybe 80,000 people.
80,000 is a small number, dude.
Especially when you're isolated at the southern tip of Texas. Like,
right.
Like if bands came through Texas, they'd usually go as far south as San Antonio.
Right. Yeah, they're not going to McAllen typically. That is kind of weird that Sick of It All has a song that they recorded in McAllen, Texas.
Yeah, and it must have been before my time because we would have been there.
Right.
Like, but yeah.
You know what a band that has always been funny to me that I like them because they're exactly what I typically gripe about. You ever heard that band Shadows Fall?
Only by name.
Dude, they're like the most punk rock metal band, dude. Like I've seen them play a couple times, and those dudes. They're definitely into punk music and skateboarding and all that stuff. The singer's got dreadlocks like down to his feet, or he did. But that band was always like one that I don't know why. I mean, I think I liked his vocals a lot. He had like a real good, like honestly, like a punk rock vocal style, but it was with metal music. It was cool, man. There's a bunch of metal out there I like. I just don't choose it. Yes, baby? If you need to use the trash can, it's in the pantry. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Well, Blood for Blood was a perfect mix for me of like hardcore and punk, like all at one. Like Rob sounded more punk rock and Buddha sounded,
Yep.
you know, like
more
heavy,
hardcore,
like Sick of It All,
Dude.
Crisis, that kind of voice.
There's only a handful of bands out there that fit into the Blood for Blood category, in my opinion. You've got Pride Kills, Blood for Blood, Wisdom in Chains. And then, oddly enough, a band that I'm pretty sure I got a record of today called Rotting Out. They, in my opinion, fit that category. It's like this very much hardcore band, but they're so clearly intertwined with punk. And then they got this like real dirty white trash. Like
I got one for you.
You know,
they're Australian, and they are called These Nuts. I'm not fucking.
Oh my
with
goodness!
You. But
I've heard that band. Somebody's requested them on the channel. Might have been you.
They've got a Blood for Blood kind of sound to them.
We've actually talked about them here, I think. I've heard them on the channel, though. So, yeah, when you said that, I was like, I know that name. I can't imagine naming a band that, dude.
Me neither. But like, and that's how I was like, I got to figure out what this band sounds like. Because like, when early days touring Europe, I would see a lot of even socks for this band called The Bones, which is not a hardcore band. But,
Wait, like the old punk and roll band, The Bones?
Yeah, The Bones.
That's a good band.
Yeah. But I never heard of it. I mean, this is 2006. They're Swedish.
Yeah, good
Nobody I knew in the States had ever heard of this band. But, like, everywhere you went, there were Bones shirts, Bones socks, Bones hats. Like, it was everywhere.
That's
and then
awesome.
a few years later, I started seeing D's Nuts t-shirts. And I'm like, is that a band? Like, what is that? I'm seeing a lot of it.
I gotta figure this out.
Like, but see, like, there was this period in Germany. Like, let's say it was like maybe 3 to 5 years after, like, the Chuck Norris jokes had kind of made the rounds.
I love me a Chuck Norris joke.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, just imagine 3 to 5 years later, there were all of these German bands that were like an homage or a tip of the hat to Chuck Norris. Like, there was one called Chuck Damage.
Dude, that's awesome.
There was, oh god.
That was a band called Chuck Damage?
Yes.
I like that.
But there were just a lot of, like, Chuck Norris bands in Germany.
That's awesome.
Around that time. But, yeah, D's Nuts was like, I gotta figure out what the hell this is.
Oh, dude,
Nitty,
that's
if
cool.
you see this, Nitty, you ought to check out a band from Germany called Front Kick. They're very much.
That is a good band.
They're in the vein of, like, Dead to Me, One Man Army.
Dude, Front Kick is awesome. You introduced me to Front Kick. That band's great. That's a good. I need to remember. Hold on, I'll put that on. We'll be listening to Front Kick before you even see this video.
Look for a record called either Cause of the Rebel or Curse of the Rebel. But that's one of those records that anytime I saw one, I would buy it to give to a friend because I knew that I had friends who would love it. And I've probably bought at no less than 6 copies of that record over the years just to give out because, like, it's not something that made its way over here. They never played over here, but it's also just flew under the radar over here.
That's one of the beautiful things about punk is that you're always. I mean, I guess music in general. You're always gonna be able to discover a new diamond in the rough. Always. There's always a new band or a band you hadn't heard before or an old band that you're rediscovering.
And maybe more to this point, it's happening everywhere else around the world too.
That's what I'm saying. There's always stuff for you to, like, discover. Okay, you said, is it one word? Front Kick, one word, or is it 2 words? It's one word.
One word, and it's either Curse or Cause of the Rebel. Right. Like, I think it's Curse, and I think I make it Cause because they got James Dean, like, on the cover, so it makes me think of Rebel Without a Cause. But I think it's Curse of the Rebel.
It's the Cause of the Rebel.
Is it?
It is the Cause of the Rebel.
All right.
You're like, well, son of a bitch.
Well, I mean, I guess that means I was right the first time, which is not often the case.
Oh, dang! They got a CD version. I'm kind of into that, actually.
Yeah, I picked up this past fall when we were over there. I picked up they have a new EP. Or I say new. I think it's a couple years old now, but they had been on hiatus or broken up for a few years now. But new music.
Dude, I'm gonna buy a copy of this on CD because it's easier to ship, so I can get it just a little bit cheaper. Or I say a little cheaper, a little faster, a lot cheaper. I'm gonna be in it for like $15-20 versus like 40.
It's a front to backer kind of record, especially for
dude, we need more records like that.
Like
yeah, you know what I'm into, man.
The One Man Army, Dead to Me kind of sound is so present in that band, and not in a ripped off way, just in their own voice of it. But it's just like a really great record. But yeah, they were.
So anybody's watching this, we're going to do a raffle for an Operation Ivy cassette. It'll be a 1989 first edition pre-barcode, like first edition on the white cassette shell with the all black front cover, and then it says Energy on the spine the wrong way, and there's no barcode on it, right? These are pretty scarce. I've got an extra copy. I say extra. I got an additional copy to my collection, so I'm going to do a raffle. I think I'm going to do $5 spots, and I'm going to go up to 40 spots. If we hit at least 32 spots. That covers the price and the shipping. But if I can make a couple extra bucks, that would help a lot. Not tripping either way, but 32 to 40 spots. Once we hit 40, I'm going to cap it and do the drawing. I don't want to have 100 spots because people will buy a lot of spots for that. I'm going to probably do like a 5-spot cap as well. I don't want people buying half the freaking, and then being pissed off when they don't win it. Because that's happened with comic books before. So 5-spot minimum, $5 a spot. I mean maximum, excuse me, $5 a spot. Raffle. As soon as I get it in and play test it, I just found another copy that I've ordered, and I will play test it, and then somebody will get it for cheap.
My first copy.
It's crazy to find those things,
was on
dude.
cassette, but I'm pretty sure it must have a barcode because I didn't get it to buy.
Well, there's 2 that don't have barcodes. There's a white shell that's got the full black cover, and then there's another one that's got the cover's got the artwork is a little smaller. It's got 2 white bars, one on each side of it. Also, no barcode, but the shell of the cassette is clear plastic. So you have the 1989 is the white one. The 1990 pressing is also no barcode.
That would be the one that I have because I bought it in '91.
Yeah, that one's a little bit. It's still very expensive and it's still pretty scarce, but it's a little more available. But my copies are coincidentally signed, so I don't. Those are more important to me than the first one at this point. But
it wasn't their fault that I resented Op Ivy for so long because.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I would burn through those cassettes and then end up scratching up the CDs. Like, I have owned that record so many times on 3 separate formats at this point. 4 if you include the digital. But yeah, like, I just kept having to replace. Not even because eventually because the format had changed. Like,
right.
Oh, now I've got a CD player in my car.
You're just wearing it out. I wore out a couple albums. Let's Go, oddly enough, is one that I wore out. Because when I got it, I was so excited to have new Rancid music that I sidelined Out Come the Wolves for a little while, and I just played Let's Go over and over and over and over. And I was younger, so I wanted like faster music, and it was like the faster version of Out Come the Wolves to me.
Oh.
And so, down the road at this age, I like Out Come the Wolves quite a bit more. But
that was the first record I got, or Rancid record I got Klinck into. I told you, I've got this love for the first one because I bought it when it was new, and it just was my first introduction to Rancid. But when Let's Go came out, I bought it, I think on CD at the time. But by that point, Clint and I were playing music together, and he was playing bass. And if you're a bass player and you hear Rancid, I mean, come on. Like, this is God mode for a bass player.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, we used to drive around our hometown because there wasn't much to do. And like, anytime we'd pick up a CD or a cassette or whatever, it was like, we just get in my car and we drive around the town until we listened to the whole thing, and then sometimes
that's the way to do it.
We just rode around the town again, listened to it a second time, and then we went to Fun World and played video games.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
It really wasn't, but the car rides were, but like,
Dude, all right, story time. So when I was 19, I was dating this girl named Crystal, and she was just a horrible person. But she was, in my opinion, just gorgeous, right? So I was stupid. I would do anything for this girl, man. She was, I think, 17, turning 18, and I was just turned 19. I was fresh out of high school. She was, I think, a senior, and we'd met because her sister went to an alternative school where I went, and that's how I met her. And I was just like, hey, Amber, you gotta hit me up with your sister. She's like, we hooked up, and I'm like, yeah. That's old news. I need to. And so, long story long, I end up acquiring this young lady. And that sounded so fucking weird.
Yeah, it did. I acquired her.
The word I meant to say was conquered, which isn't much better, but it definitely doesn't sound like
it might be worse.
I was going to say conquered like she didn't really have much to do with me is my point. Yeah, that didn't go anywhere good. Anyways, we started dating, and we were broke kids, and so we didn't have a car, we had no money, and she's like, hey, I want some beers, and I was like, I'm 19, like freshly 19, got no beard or nothing, I can't go buy beers right now. And she's like, Fat Pam has a car, and I was like, okay. And she goes, go take Fat Pam to get beer. And I'm like, okay. And so I go get Fat Pam, and me and my girlfriend get in the car with her, and we get down to this, I think it was a stop and go at the time.
So wait. You got Fat Pam and not Camaro James.
Oh, Cadillac James. No, dude, we got Paul Nasty. We got B Rich. I got all the homies, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, Fat Pam and
Fat Pam was definitely a big
Cadillac.
Cadillac James. Paul Nasty is probably my favorite name of all time. I love that name, Paul Nasty. I was the only nickname that I ever got, because you can't give yourself a nickname. The only nickname I ever got was Early Bird, because I was out selling drugs with these guys, and they were like, I was in my 20s, I was being stupid, and they were like, hey man, why are you up so early every day? And I literally went, I gotta go to work. What are y'all doing up? And they're like, we haven't gone to bed yet. And I'm like, oh, well, have a nice day, I gotta go to work. Anyways, I got called Early Bird for probably 3 years out in the 3rd Ward, man, it was crazy. But, so we get down to the store, and I don't know what I thought she meant by get Fat Pam to go get you beer, but in my head I thought that meant like, well, I don't have no money, so I guess Fat Pam's buying beer. And so they're like rolling up a doobie because, you got money for that. No matter what kind of money you don't have, you got money for that. We get to the stop and go, and it comes to light that we don't have any cash. And so I was like, well, what do we do? I mean, we're already over here. And I was like, let's just go back to the house. And then Crystal's like, hey, look over by the door. And remember how they used to have like 12 packs of sodas outside their convenience stores? Mm-hmm. They haven't done that in ages. Now people will steal them all. But they used to have that, and then right on the inside of the door would be beers.
Whatever
beers would be inside.
Price, right.
Yeah, sale price beers. She's like, they got cases of whatever, let's just say Budweiser, I don't know what it was. Budweiser or something. She's like, they got cases of 12-ounce cans right by the door. She's like, I'll go in there and just kind of, pull my ladies out, and you grab some beers and run.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yahoo!
Yeah. And I was like, sounds like a plan. And so we walk inside, and she's cute, man. She's talking to this guy, and he's all falling over himself talking to her. And I was like, and I picked up 2 cases, one in each hand, and I looked at her, and I was like, and she goes, oh, we got people coming over tonight. Out loud, bro. Oh, we have people coming over tonight. She runs over to me, grabs 2 more cases. Mind you, she is 17, I think. Either that or like freshly 18. I was 19 in a day. We're not old enough to even have this stuff. And we take off running, and Pam's outside, like rolling up a joint in the car. Car's running. She's got like this 1982 Buick.
No video cameras back then.
No, nothing, bro. But dude, I'm so glad. I wish they did about how the story ends. So she's sitting in this like 1982 fucking Buick, and motherfucker's leaned over to the side because Fat Pam's a big woman, bro. And she's sitting in there, it's like, and I run over to the car, I throw the beers in there, and Crystal throws the beers in there. We jump in the back seat, we're laughing, and we're like, oh, this is gonna be hilarious to tell everybody. And then she fucking throws it in drive, hits the gas, and it just immediately stops, and then
flooded the engine.
Bro, no, worse, dude. The car, the parking lot had one of those things where it kind of dipped, went up, and then it went out of the parking lot, so you couldn't haul ass out of it. You had to go slow. So we go up it, it putts, it goes, it stops, and then the front wheels just go like this, and then it commences to like slide down this like exit ramp, and we just die in the street, the car, and I'm like, oh my god, the dude's outside running. Now the guy that we stole the beer from is pointing at us and laughing. He's like, you dumb idiots. And so we have to walk back inside and hand him his beer back. And at the time, this is like 2001. I didn't have no cell phone. I had to ask this dude if we could borrow his phone to call a tow truck. But her car, we thought it ran out of gas. It actually broke down.
Yeah.
In the middle of a beer heist.
Again, I don't know if this is Atlantis irony or not, but like the irony, or maybe not irony, of you guys ripping off a gas station and forgetting to fill up for your getaway.
Bro, well, it just broke down. The car just broke down, but it just died on us. Like, I mean, it was so poetic, bro. We were a bunch of dumb kids laughing, ha 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 ha, with this just comically large woman in the front seat. And the thing is that she was like in her 30s, bro. Like, when I look back at that, I'm like, what was she doing hanging out with us anyways?
We met a dude in Elko, Nevada once. I mean, this in a loving way.
No, you don't, but it's okay.
No, I really do.
I know.
This part I do. So, like, anytime we were at, like, kind of a weird show, I was like, how did we get here? And it'd be like, wait a minute, is this a Linsky contact? Because Mark Linsky, like, toured so much that, like, he had a contact everywhere.
That's awesome.
Now, sometimes you're like, hey, you guys show up? These really fucking cool guys, and they always throw shows behind the 7-Eleven into the dumpster.
Oh,
that's an exaggeration. But, like, you'd get there and you'd be like, this is kind of a half-baked thing that's going on. What? And you look over and so you'd be like, Linsky. Right on, well, we got a show. Because, like, that was the thing. Linsky had great contacts, too.
Okay.
But he had a contact no matter where the fuck you were in the country.
That's awesome. That's the kind of person you need to know.
So, like, when you had days off, you'd be like, hey, Mark, you know about anybody in Elko, Nevada, or wherever, you know? Like, oh, yeah, call up this dude. He's fucking good people, you know, blah, blah. Like,
that's the kind of person you need to be friends with, bro.
Now, he was not Fat Pam's age, but, like, there was this dude in Elko, Nevada, and he had a trailer. And, like, we get to the spot, and it was kind of like, oh, this is going to be a weird one. He said, oh, if you want, we're hanging out at my place before the show. I'm like, all right. So we go over there. And first of all, this dude's wearing basketball shorts, and he never stopped, like, scratching his nuts. Like, the whole fucking time. I mean, all night long. Like, and pre-game, too.
That's awesome.
And,
what a dirty bastard. Go take a shower, buddy.
Like, I don't know what was going on there, or whether it was just like a move that he thought, like, but he was not our age, but closer to our age than the, like, 16-year-old kids that were hanging out in his trailer. And it was a similar thing. You're like, this might be a crime. Like, they were making, like, tasers out of disposable cameras.
What?
I'd never heard of this before.
I didn't know you could do that either.
Apparently, if you dick with it the right way, you could shock the shit out of somebody with it.
That sounds like a great time.
Yeah, well.
Dude, one time I say one time.
By the way, I fucking, like, all night I was like, dude, we got to remember not to shake, like, we say thank you, but we don't shake this dude's hands because they've been all over his nuts, like, for hours. And sure enough, as we're leaving, he's like, all right, well, have a good night. And I'm like, cool, man. I'm like, the second we're shaking hands, I'm like, fuck.
All night you're like,
nope.
Dude, so back in, like, 1990, let's see, what year would this have been? Maybe 98, maybe? July 4th, 98, 97, 98, 99, somewhere.
Are you asking me or telling me?
No, I'm just, like, thinking out loud. It was one of those 3 years. It was, like, before I got out of high school. July 4th, my friend who will remain nameless, or at least my friend.
We're going to call him Cadillac James.
My friend's father, coincidentally named Thomas.
Cadillac James the first.
The first, senior. But he used to go over to, what was the place everybody wanted to go? Amsterdam, because he was a big weed head guy. And he would bring us things over. Back then it was, the people don't understand, the airlines used to be different, man. Back in the 90s, you could basically just travel with stuff because they just would be like, oh, you're good, go. He would bring.
They would give you metal knives on the fucking plane to eat your food with.
Really? That's wild work, dude. So he would bring back, like, stuff from Amsterdam, and he would send back things too. He would ship things home.
They were like butter knives. I mean,
but still, like, metal knives is crazy work. But, like, he would bring back, like, bongs and pipes, and I was never a big weed guy, but I did, and to an extent, do appreciate hallucinogens. And so he comes home one day after this trip, and he's like, hey, Randy, I got something for you. And again, in hindsight, this is real strange, because he's like my friend's dad, and I was probably 16, and he's like, here, man, and he hands me this little bag, and it's got this, like, wet, almost moldy looking, like, purple and green, it looked like gel, but harder. Turned out it was peyote. And I was like, what is this? He tells me about it, and he's like, hey, man, if you take that, like, you're going to get sick to the stomach. Don't let it bother you. Throw up a little bit. You'll feel fine. And I was like, oh, it's kind of like mushrooms. He's like, yeah, it's just a little faster acting, though. And so I was like, all right, and this is how stupid I was as a kid. I ended up taking, I think he told me to eat half of it or something. I don't remember what he said, something about it. I end up not doing that. I eat it. Like 2.5 hours go by. I don't realize that I'm tripping because it was so subtle that I just didn't realize it.
I was just sitting there having a conversation with this wolf.
Pretty much, dude. And the wolf starts petting me. It was weirdly strange, but it felt nice. But so my other friend comes over and they've got mushrooms. Now I didn't eat a bunch of them, but I did partake, and I had probably 2 grams of mushrooms. Again, another hour goes by. I did throw up a little bit. I thought, oh man, I guess I'm just not gonna trip tonight. It's July 4th. My friend, I think it was Jake. I can't say names. Never mind. Jake the Snake Roberts came over.
Buick Ben
came over, and he had some blotter acid. And he goes, here, do you want some of this? And I was like, no, I'm good, man. I don't really feel that well. I took some mushrooms and some peyote earlier. And he's like, Jesus Christ, did you really? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, and you're not tripping? And I was like, not even a little bit.
Ask the wolf.
Yeah, bro. Ask the fucking wolf.
He knows I'm cool.
And the Smurf. They were both there. And he's like, well, here, dude, just take one of these on me then. And he gives me a piece of paper. And I just threw it in my mouth. And he goes, just shit, did you take the whole thing? And I was like, yeah, why? And he goes, never mind. And he's like, just, hey man, have a good time. And I was like, all right. Come to find out, it was a 10 strip. And so I am sitting on this chair, and then I hear, pop, 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 pop. It's July 4th. The sun's going down, fireworks happening. I was like, oh shit, I want to go look at the fireworks. And I stood up and I melted. And I was like, oh no. And I don't know what was working and what wasn't working. Honestly, I don't feel like all of it was working because how would I recover from that? So I make my way outside and I'm just, dude, the sky is like daylight, man. But it's like dark like this. Everything's lit up, but my eyes are bugging, dude. I'm feeling crazy, dude. I'm seeing all kinds of stuff. You would walk by and there'd be like 13 of you following you, and just my hands are making weird shapes, and I still get weird things in my vision. I'm positive it's because of that day. I end up getting...
You short-circuited something.
Bro, so in the neighborhood I lived in, it was like a big grid. It was just street, and then there was one big street that went around most of it, and that street would get out of the neighborhood. And so I started walking, and all of a sudden I'm like in a different area. I don't know where I'm at. I'm by myself. I just have on my clothes and a wallet, and I didn't have a cell phone or nothing. And I'm just walking around. I think I had some cigarettes. And I end up in this, do you remember the store called Gerland's? Maybe they didn't have those here. They turned into Food Town, but there's a place called Gerland's Grocery. And it was my very first job I ever had. I ended up in this Gerland's Grocery parking lot. And I'm like, what is going on? And it's closed down, so everything looks like post-apocalyptic to me. Because there's like wood on the windows, and I'm freaking the fuck out, dude. And so I'm like starting to panic and shit. And so I take off my shirt, and I wrap it around my head for some reason, and I'm like walking around this parking lot, and then I start walking what I can only assume was just big giant circles. And then at some point I get so scared that I was like, all right, I'm gonna lay down for a few minutes. When the sun comes up, I'll find my way home. Dude, it's like 9 p.m. And so I fucking take my my shirt off, I rolled it up, and I laid on the concrete of this parking lot. It was a blacktop concrete. And I watched fireworks for however long they were going. It could have been a couple of hours. It wasn't all night, but it was a while. And I just get lost in it, man. I forget about everything. I'm not worried anymore. I'm not concerned about things anymore. I'm just enjoying this situation. And I mean, I'm just I'm on an adventure, bro. Well, I guess I fell asleep at some point, and I rolled over on my stomach. And when I came to, it was immediate and abrupt. And I jumped up and I was like, what the fuck? And the reason that I jumped up is because there was a blister on my back. Because it was like 2 p.m. the next afternoon. And I must have been up all night, and then around the time of, dusk, or dawn. Around the time of dawn, I probably was like, oh, I should get some sleep. But I was so fucked up that I rolled over and just fell asleep in this parking lot, not thinking that there's literally just parking lot. And it was blacktop, and I woke up and I had like little bits of burn on my arms from the concrete, and my back was like cherry red for...
shit happens when you party shirtless, man.
Bro, I was blistered, and months I couldn't swim the whole summer. Dude, it was... Dude, try explaining that shit to your mom, dude. Like, I got home and she, like, beat the shit out of me, man. Because I had, like, my lips were all chapped real bad. I smelled like shit, bro. And I was still pretty fucked up.
She didn't even know what you got into, but she was like, you deserve this. I don't
Something
even know what's
happened. Dude, because, like, you know how if you take that kind of stuff, I don't know if you got any experience with that stuff?
Not since high school, man.
So it's been a long, long time for me, too. But, like, what I do remember is that when I woke up, I still had a lot of residual feelings. And so I was at home getting just, like, the business from my mom, and I was just like, all I want to do is go close myself in a room and put aloe vera all over me. I want to go lay on a towel of aloe vera and then just cry for the next few days. Dude, it hurt so bad. I didn't sleep right for probably 2 weeks because my back, it wasn't for the stuff, it was for my back hurt so bad. I can't sleep on my stomach. I don't know why I rolled over on that concrete, bro. Maybe because if I only had my arms, like when I was in jail, I slept like that too, like this. I can't sleep on a hard surface like this. I have to sleep on my arms. I guess that's probably what I was doing. I don't really know, man. It was a long time ago, but yeah, man. And one time, me and my boy James, shout out to James, just had a baby, dude. Dude, James, if you're watching this.
Cadillac?
No, oh no, different James. His nickname, you wanna know his nickname? It's worse, bro.
Worse. Cadillac James is awesome.
I know, but this is like the polar opposite of what that name is. His name was Chinks. I'll give you one guess why.
Chase?
Chinks. Chinks.
Chinks. Oh, yikes.
I know. Yeah. I don't know how he got that name. I think he might have given himself that name. Dude, this guy was wild. We had like 5 friends named James in high school, and it was always Chinks James. Shout out to Chinks James, man. I love you, brother. That guy's...
I'm frightened to ask, was he Asian?
He was half Korean and half German. He looked like he was Korean.
Okay.
But, so here's the thing. Let me back up a little bit. When my dad died, this dude and his father were the only 2 people that I was friends with that showed up to his funeral. So I got nothing but love for this man. That guy is one of my very best friends of my whole entire life. So I got it just in hindsight, in the 90s, we called our dear friend Chinks James. I don't think we went with the James. I think it was just Chinks.
I don't know.
He never seemed to be bothered by it either.
I don't know, and I'm not really the right person to weigh in on this, but I still say that's probably better than Fat Pam.
That's a valid point.
I don't know, but I mean...
Well, Fat Pam is just brutally honest. Chinks is kind of racist.
Well, yeah, I mean, like there's no winners.
Hey, we had weigh in on this, guys.
There's
dun dun.
There's
Don't
no
weigh
winners.
too much. Sorry, Pamela. But like
that fixes the last 40 minutes.
No, dude. But like,
I'm sorry, Pamela.
Yeah, dude. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, me and James took some blotter acid one night, and we were at my dad's house. This is like right before my dad passed away. And he had this neighborhood that was being built out in Spring, Texas. And so we're walking through the neighborhood on a fair bit of LSD. And we're seeing stuff, we're talking, we're having a great time. I think we were probably about 16 years old. I used to do a lot of this kind of stupid shit. And I see this Native American guy. And he's standing in front of me. And he's like, hey.
Don't tell me what his name was.
Robert, coincidentally. No. So I see him and he's like, hey, stop. And I was like, oh, shit. And we're walking, mind you, right? And James just keeps walking. I stop. And then I guess he hears me talking, so he turns around and he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, yo, this guy wants my ID. And he's like, huh? And I was like, you don't see the giant Indian in front of me? And he's like, no? And I said that back then. I said Native American now. Just calm down, all right? So I was like, dude, he wants our IDs. And I hand this person my ID, and it just falls on the floor because he's not there. And what I was looking at was this welcome to the neighborhood sign that had like a family painted on it. And I was so fucking fried that I was like, oh shit, this guy needs to see who I am, where I'm going. What ID? I was 16, bro. I gave him like a high school ID. But we went to my dad's house and we're outside on a porch smoking cigarettes. And my dad was like, he was a terrible father, but he was like cool with me taking drugs and stuff as long as I did it like at his house. You know, some people's parents are like as an example, if my kids want to try like weed or something like that, I'd rather them just come talk to me, man. I will make sure you get something that's not going to kill you, and then try it in the backyard, and then when you feel like shit tomorrow, good. I hope so. Don't do it again. But like, I don't want my kids to think they can't trust me type shit, right? My mom was so strict that it pushed me in the other direction. My dad was probably too too lax with his rules. But he told me, like, hey, if you're doing stuff, do it at the house. Don't go do nothing stupid, like, blah, blah. So my dad was a chef at this point in his life. He was a retired, military and police and everything. So he has this big pantry, like, imagine your pantry, but like 3X. So it had the door,
right.
and it was just really big. You could walk in it. It's like a small room. And I would tell James, like, hey, man, we're gonna get some oranges. You remember the whole you take orange juice and you're on LSD to make a trip harder. So we go in there and I'm like, I bet my dad's got some oranges. Or I think I said orange juice. We didn't have orange juice. We only had oranges, and there was this big like burlap sack of oranges. And so we just take the bag outside. We're sitting on the patio, and we're just eating oranges. Doesn't seem that big a deal, man. We go to bed, and then we wake up. My dad's going, "What the fuck?" And he comes, slams my door open. He's like, "Get your fucking ass up and get outside and clean that shit up. I got fucking neighbors looking at me like I'm crazy." And I was like, what did we do? Dude, first off, when we woke up, our hands were covered in like orange peel and like all that shit that's in between the orange meat and the all up in my fingernails, dude. Yeah. And I was like, oh no, dude, I had like shit on my face, dude. My shirt was all crusty. I go out, I open the front door and I start chuckling. I'm like, oh shit. And James was like, what? I'm like, dude, look at this. I don't know what we were thinking, but we were taking the orange peel off, and I guess one of us started it by setting one down on the ground. So the other person set a peel down on the ground. And we ultimately ate that whole bag of oranges, and all the peels, we covered his whole entire front yard. Not the whole yard, but like 65% of his yard was covered in this sheet of orange peel. And he was just like, what the fuck are you? He's like, you could have done this shit in the backyard? And I was like, well, we took a walk. He's like, why are you taking a walk? I'm like, I don't know, man. Yeah, let's hear it for being 16.
I don't know, man. I was fucking high as shit.
Bro, we had a great time, man. When he died, bro, I never been a big, what's the word for whatever, man? I've never been a big X fan. It's never been my jam, dude. I don't like that stuff that kills people. But I had some because I had a lot of anxiety as a kid, and I was prescribed like little bitty footballs. I didn't ever take them because they made me just like zonk out. And so when he died, I remember I ran into my room. I walked in there, I was crying, and I grabbed a handful of them, dude, and I just chucked them in my mouth, and I grabbed a cigarette, and I walked out the door. It was pouring fucking rain, and I went and I knocked on this door. It's the only door I knew somebody that lived there. I was very new to this neighborhood. I only lived there for 2 months, and there was this girl that I had, like, you know how you see this girl from afar, and you're like, that girl is the most beautiful. It was that kind of chick, but I didn't even know her name. But I just knocked on her door anyways, and she, like, opens the door, she goes, hey, and she opens it, she goes, oh, hey, and I'm like, hey, and she's like, it's fucking pouring, dude. She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know, man. My dad just died. You want to go on a walk? And she's like, I mean, what? And I was like, and I repeated myself, and she's like, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm not okay right now. And she goes, yeah, hold on a second. And she goes and, I don't remember what she grabbed, maybe some shoes or something. And we just go walking in the pouring rain, and we find this park, and we sit on this bench, and we just sit out there and we talked. I don't remember what we talked about. We talked for a couple of hours, and then she went home, and I went back to my house, and I fell into a deep dark hole for a couple of weeks, and then I moved to Dallas, and I don't remember her name. I don't think we ever spoke again, but like, I wish I could say thank you to her, because she probably saved my life. I was in a bad spot, dude. But yeah, that neighborhood's got a lot of bad memories. The only good memory is that I learned how to drive in that neighborhood. And I used to shop at this place called Vinyl Edge in Houston when I lived out there. We used to go there. I got some of my first punk records at that place. But like, not a lot of good memories in that house, because it was moved in, dad passed, and then I did a bunch of stupid shit, got in a lot of trouble. We lived next door to a DEA agent. Bro, it was this weird, yeah, whatever. He was a real big prick, man. He used to like physically, like, we'd be playing basketball in the cul-de-sac, and he had like this little chump ass kid that was spoiled, and so he would always want to play basketball, so we would let him. I didn't really like him much, but I'm not trying to be mean. And then one day his dad's like, hey, you want to play 2-on-2? It's me and James, and we're like, sure. Dude, he's like fucking full-grown police officer, dude, knocking into me, like fouling me like really hard, bro, and being like, you're a pussy. And I'm like, what is going on right now, dude? Oh man. Yeah, good times, bro. Let's hear it for the 90s. Let's hear it for the 90s, dude.
had some good times in the 90s.
I had a lot of great times. Honestly, that was like the bad times. Everything else was cool. My dad, man, he did some wild shit, but I miss him, dude. I wish he was around still. He would love my kids. He'd be a better granddad than he was a dad, I'm positive. How could you not like my kids, man? They're awesome. You're like, I don't know, man. I've met Parker. That kid is wild.
I like your kids.
You don't even have to. Charlie's cool, though. She's inside. She's chilling.
Yeah, Charlie's my breakfast buddy.
Yeah, Charlie's the homie. Parker just wants you to look at him for a minute. And then once he's busy again, he doesn't care anymore. Bricken is good by himself. He didn't even want to come with me to hang out on this road trip.
Well, no, the trip where it was like the whole fam, like Chris was here too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys stayed or if you just stopped. I can't remember.
No, we just hung out for a couple of hours, like maybe an hour and a half, something like that.
But like, I was like, hey, kids want like shirts because I had all the old Northern shirts.
Yeah.
And Bricken was like, or you told me like, Bricken doesn't like any printed shirts. Like,
nothing, bro.
Yeah, like, he's like, yeah, it's cool, but he won't wear it if it has a print on it or something.
He wouldn't either, man. Like, he's 12 and a half, or no, he's 12, just turned 12. Yeah, Charlie's 10 and a half. Bricken just turned 12. And his entire life, since he was probably about 5, and he started pointing out things that he liked as far as clothes, like, I like that shirt, I like that shirt. Ever since he was probably 5 years old, the only thing that I've seen him wear that has a print on it is the shirt. There's a hoodie with a picture of our dog on it that I got made for him. And he wears it every day. He wears it when it's hot. He wears it when it's cold. He wears it when it's raining. He wears it when it's dry. He wears it every day. That kid he's an interesting, wonderful, beautiful mind, but he is not into cool banties. It's like rancid shirt.
Hey man, when I
black shirt with a green stripe.
I figured out I could get a 6-pack of just plain black shirts on Amazon for like $10.
You can.
I don't need $20, $30 band shirts.
No, but you did it because you're like, fuck spending $20 on a shirt. He did it because he's like, fuck having a shirt that looks cool. Dude, shout out to my kiddo, man. He's an awesome dude. He saved my life, man. That kid is like the whole reason I'm still here. And then Charles in there, she's my little princess. She's my road dog, man. We went and watched Mission Impossible this morning at like 10 o'clock. That movie was badass, by the way. He did some stunts in there that made me genuinely, like, it bothered me physically. Like, I was, like, squirming in my seat because I'm claustrophobic. And he does this thing, I don't want to get too deep into it and ruin anything, but he does a thing where it's very claustrophobic. And it's incredibly realistic. And the whole time I was out loud going, and Charlie's just looking at me like, what is your deal? I'm like, sorry, no, no, bro. As soon as he came out and he goes, I was like, like, dude, it was wild. What's up, Sasha? I'm gibbering tonight. Let's go show them these records, dude.
All right.
Y'all want to see some cool records? Let's go show them you want to clean the Misfits one while we're showing them the GE splits?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Let's go. I mean, that machine makes some noise, though, so written already.
Well, like, that's kind of how it feels. It feels like I already have a book written. Like, and I don't even have an actual chapter written. But I do have an outline of bullet points, and I know, because since it's going to be about me and my life, I know it so well because it's all what happened to me. Mm-hmm. So when I look at this outline, I already in my head can immediately think, oh, dude, there's going to be like fucking 20 pages of stuff here, because I'm going to actually write out the story, how I would tell it to a person, except that I don't have to be like trying to rush myself. I can just tell the story how it happened. And also I can like use big, nice, voluptuous words. I can write it. It can make it sound nice, make it sound pretty, make it.
And maybe there's 4 acts instead of 3, but like it's
right.
what we talked about before. Maybe there's many chapters in each act, but like basically like where I started, middle, trials, tribulations, good times, whatever, and then that's where you eventually get to Act 3, where it's your current, like where you're at now or how you came to where you're at now. But at our age, there's a lot of chapters to our lives and a lot of acts. And
especially when you
acts
did all the stuff that we did in our lives.
Good and bad,
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this story. I'm actually writing this down right now because I thought about this the other day, and I'm glad I rethought about it, because this is how I want to start it out. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is basically, the whole entire book is going to start off like, I'm gonna basically write like a chapter, then I'm gonna write a preface, and then I'm gonna write the book. So you're gonna start out by like, it's just gonna start, boom. And it's gonna basically be like, yo, I got off a plane in Vegas in May 2025.
That's good. Bookends, like where, that's a great way to bookend it. Like got off the flight, start thinking about how I got here, you know, or whatever.
Yeah. Like, man, this is crazy, and then it's just gonna trail off, and it's gonna pick back up in like 1995, me laying on the floor listening to this. This could be a fucking movie. It's gonna be a cinematic story, bro. Like, I'm not necessarily special. I think everybody has a story like this, and not everybody has the desire or courage or whatever you want to call it, whatever it takes to actually do it. Because I'm telling you, even talking about it is making me a little nauseous. Like, I'm feeling like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm even speaking this out loud on a video that's going to be on my channel. So now I have to do it.
Are we filming again?
Yeah, bro. I told you, if the camera's up, we're filming. But like, that's how I get myself to do this.
DIY
stuff.
haircuts too.
Bro, what are you talking about, dude? I don't have no hair, so I DIY'd this shit. I did it myself by taking testosterone. But like, if I just say I'm gonna do it to you privately, I'll say that to you 30 times. I will likely get something started. But if I say it to like a bunch of people, and I tell my wife I'm going to do this, and I tell my friends on the channel I'm going to do this, well, now I have to do this, and I can't. That's
well, now you're committed.
That's how I motivate myself. Yeah. So, but I do think it's going to be a cool story, man. I think that I've been asked about it enough times at this point, which at first used to weird me out a little bit, but people have been really nice about it. And I never really thought of it as interesting because I'm just waking up every day and going about my business. And that's the thing. It's like, to me, it's not interesting. To me, it's just my life.
Everybody.
Right? Exactly.
No matter how interesting their story
is. Well, that's exactly why I'm saying everybody's got a story. People just don't usually tell them. I like podcasts because you get people's story out of it. I like true crime because you get people's story out of it. So I'm going to approach this as like, okay, and I think your idea was fucking perfect. Do it some kind of digital, free or cheap type shit where it's like 99 cents or free, where it's like people can read it.
At that point, you just gotta write it and type it, and then
yeah,
you can put it on all the Kindles and whatever's out there.
I didn't consider Kindles and stuff, and I'll do my own recording of an audiobook. That's also, you know, I already thought this before you talked about it, but like when I read or listen to an audiobook and it's by a guy that I know of,
right.
I don't want to hear somebody else's voice. I want to hear the person that's telling me the story.
No, I mean, I think I told you, but Clint and I bought Get in the Van on CD instead of the book because it was Rollins, you know, reading Get in the Van.
Yeah.
And so it was literally in his voice telling stories, and you know, you felt more connected to a band that predated your experience with punk rock, but because it was one of those guys telling the story, like when I was, we never released it, but Cripples were in the studio once, and Chris Gates produced, and you know, he was in the Big Boys, he was in Poison 13,
crazy,
Junkyard, and so he had all these stories, and there was this room in the studio that was like the smoking room. It was kind of like, almost looked like a giant fume hood from science class, you know, like just glass windows or whatever, but we just pony up in there and basically just listen to Chris Gates tell stories about touring with Minor Threat and, you know, like the Go-Go's and all this, like, and you're like,
that is absurd.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, if people like you, they'll read it or they'll listen, you know.
I hesitate to talk about myself like that, but I think that's what I've got going for me, is that I'm nice to people, and I think that goes a long way. So I've got a community that I'm building because I'm respectful. Like it goes further than just being nice to people. Like it's not hard to be nice to people, man. But I'm thoughtful, dude. Like I like to do this stuff. I like to make people happy. Like when I met Kim,
it is harder than being a dick, though. Being a dick is easy.
Are you sure? Because I think that being a dick, I think it depends on who you are. I think being a dick is really hard. Because then you got to suffer the consequences of being a dick all the time.
No. I just mean, being nice, it doesn't take a lot of effort. But it takes a little bit of effort. Like, don't rain your bad day all over everybody else.
That's the thing, is when you start having, like, decisions to make in order to be nice, it's like, yeah, dude, just, because, like, you know, and you also don't know what other people are dealing with. So, like, why are you trying to shit on this person's day when you're having a bad day? Well, maybe they're having a bad day, too. You're making it worse. But,
dude, that's just, if you're in a tour van and you, like, wake up, you're in this foul mood, like, I haven't got enough sleep, I'm hungover, no coffee, grumpy. And you look around and you're like, yeah, I'm not special, because literally everyone else in this van is sitting in silence with that same scowl, but also we're all sitting in silence so as not to be dicks, because everybody's going through it together. There's great times too, but yeah, morning, loading into the van, nobody's talking.
well, when I went to Vegas and I met Kim, we only knew each other through the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, we were instantly friends. Like, as soon as we started hanging out, it was like, oh, no, we're good, we're friends. Like, I'm probably too easy to get like that, but it makes it easier for people to hang out with me.
Well, that's how band stuff was, though. You know, like, you'd meet a band that you knew of,
Right.
that you'd never met, but they were friends with another band you were friends with. And so there was already this, like, you were both looking forward to get to meeting each other and hanging out and broing down together. And 99% of the time, you left as, like, lifelong friends after one show or a couple of shows together, maybe, you know?
I mean, I think that I spent so much of my life being picked on and not, I don't know, I was never cool, man, and I don't care about that. It doesn't bother me, especially now. I don't really give a shit. But, like, when you're treated poorly, you have two choices at this point. You can either be the person that hates everybody because they were treated poorly all the time. I always look at things glass half full.
Or you just get into punk rock.
Right? I just look at things from a positive perspective, man. Like, there's always opportunity out there, man. So, like, okay, I got treated like shit, and so what? You know what I mean? Other people got treated like shit. Everybody got treated like shit. So, like, you know, not everybody, but a lot of people did. I don't know. I just feel like it's easy to be nice people, and that has helped me out a lot in my career. Being nice people, because a lot of bands that I talk to, they don't have to talk to me, man, but most of them are willing to come back. Because they're like, nah, dude, he was nice. Like, I'm not intrusive, I don't have, like, an agenda, and we've talked many times about this. I try not to do a bunch of drama shit. Like, the fight guy thing happened at Punk Rock Bowling. I was right there. Did I cover it on my channel? I did not. I just don't care. I have an idea what I want to do, and I'm trying to stick with it. You know?
Well, I mean,
Trying. Sometimes
listen,
I'm
not saying that
go to the dark side.
no drama.
No, but I don't want to be. I don't want to be that guy, bro.
I mean, I just don't want to live mentally in a place where it's just like I'm looking for drama to talk about or immerse myself in. Like, I have zero patience, time. And, I'm an anxious, depressed person. I don't want to hang out with bad attitude people because, there's a Threes-Away line. I can get there on my own, and it's referring to, like, I can't remember if it's sadness or anger, but it's like I can get there on my own. Like, I don't need any help to find myself in that headspace.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. So it's like if I get to hang out with people who are large. I mean, listen, we all have bad days and need to vent and bitch and
Yeah,
and
for
be
sure.
irrational from time to time, like me and the vacuum cleaner before you got here. Like, if you hang out with and surround yourself with positive people, even if you're built like me, you find yourself, for once, seeing the glass half full rather than the other way around,
Right.
And I don't ever feel guilty being honest, but I'm like, if I'm in a bad mood, I'm like, nah, man, Find the good mood. Like I don't want to bum anyone else out. They're bringing all the sunshine and rainbows, and you know I'm showing up with shit. And hey, Sosh. Man. You having a good time? I pissed on the floor twice. While I was at practice. I was impressed. There were two oceans of urine all over the floor. I bought like I wouldn't call them puppy pads, like giant dog pads.
Yeah.
She just pisses right next to them. Never on the carpet though.
I mean, sometimes you gotta aim and just miss a little bit. You gotta make a point. I know you wanted it to go here. I'm gonna put it here.
In fairness,
see what I'm saying?
She's never peed on any of the carpets. Just on the
that,
tile.
That matters.
I just have to make sure no one touches the towels in the front room. Nope, those are not human towels anymore.
Dude, so I did a video on that band Conflict because their original singer just passed away, and I made a comment on the video about how, because Nitty was saying about these anarchist bands were just giving all of their money away and giving all their, like they didn't make any money from this music, and I was just like, yeah, I find that kind of hard to believe that they didn't keep any of the money from this, and I wasn't saying that to be like antagonistic or like rude, but what is his definition of all the money then? Because that to me means like, okay, so you played a bunch of shows, you got nothing for it, you made records, you got nothing for it, you gave all the money away, so what did you do to pay your bills? Like, how did you eat? Like, and so that's all I meant, but this dude's like all up in arms about it, and he's like, this guy needs to do his research, and blah, 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 we definitely gave all our money away. I'm like, bro, you didn't give all your money away. You can't do that. Did you do some charity work and give away a lot of your money? Maybe, I don't know. But you can't give away all of your money.
We were never greedy, but we never made any money.
I mean, I'm talking about Conflict back then was a pretty substantial band over in the UK. I mean, now did they make millions of dollars? Of course not. But like, they made something. But like, dude, come on, man, give me a break, dude. You didn't go out there and do a bunch and then make a bunch of money and then give it all away.
Unless you got day jobs, you gotta be taking in something.
And even if you have day jobs, though, my point is like, what, you made $150 on a show, and that's what you're telling me you gave all your money away? Well, that doesn't equate much to me. Like, that's not something that you go out and go, yeah, we gave everything away. That's not really a sacrifice. If you've got a day job that's paying all your bills, I got a day job too. If I had a band that played a show, I just went and did charitable work for that Houston Punk Fest, right? Mm-hmm. That doesn't equate to me giving all of it away because I did something and gave something away that day. Like, that just doesn't, I don't know, it just irritates me when people act like they did something that they probably didn't do, and it's like, I don't even really, anyways, it just irritated me, this fucking guy. But
no, most money I ever made on the road wouldn't have equated to what I would have made at a minimum wage job while I was gone. It would have been, at best, maybe 2/3 of minimum wage while I was gone.
Right.
And then you get home and you don't have a job anymore, so you find the first job you could find. If you were lucky, you had enough money to like tide you over for like 2 weeks before you found a job.
Right.
Know, like while you were actively looking for a job. Yeah, I mean, there's no money here.
I agree. My point is that I just hate when people, like, it's, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of fraudulent when you say stuff like they were anarchists and they gave everything away to everybody, and there's almost no way to prove whether or not you did that. But this is what he said. He said, the owner of this channel needs to do some research into the anarchist punk scene in the 1980s, listening to some of the stuff he said. God, dude, learn how to fucking use punctuation, dude. I hate long-ass comments with not a comma, not a period, not even a space sometimes. He said, I'm really fucking tired of grumpy. This shit is I'm not even grumpy. This shit
I have that effect on him.
No, dude, this shit is so dumb, bro. Like he's like 19. Listen to some of the stuff he said. He didn't believe that me, conflict, commas, dude, commas. Me, conflict, and other anarchist bands did give the majority of the money they made away to causes they believed in. So what? They got paid $50 and they gave $40 to somebody. That doesn't do anything, and that's not what I was talking about. And that's not what giving it all away means. Like it just makes me so irritated, dude. Like, if you gave it all away, how did you eat? How did you record? How did you get from venue to venue? Like, stop it. Stop doing that, man. Did you go in March?
Well,
that's important.
I've been to a bunch of like what I would call like anarcho, like communes in Europe. There's a lot of that shit. Like, where a bunch of people kind of live on like sometimes they grow their own shit. Most of the places are vegan.
Maybe that's what they mean. Maybe it's something like that, like a commune.
Yeah, I mean.
So they play a show that money goes to the commune.
Maybe because they're living there.
That could be.
I don't know if that's their story, but there's
but I am open to.
There's a lot of that in Europe.
Yeah, I am open to that being what he's talking about. I may have just misunderstood what the actual meaning of what was said is.
Right.
And I get very irritated and then very calm very quick. It just is my terrible, stupid personality, but it is what it is. I'm not going to apologize for it because I don't care enough to.
Here's the thing. I think you would be far more willing to like listen if they didn't address you with or start out the comment with, "This guy needs to do research because he doesn't know shit." Like, well, okay, that's a good way to start a dialogue.
It would be better if they were like, "Hey man, check this out," and it was just like a link to a fucking podcast, an interview, or an article, or something like that. I would love to read it. So and to be fair, my response is to this guy, like my actual response is, shoot me some links to articles and or interviews. I'll happily read or listen to them because I will. But like, dude, don't expect me to believe that you did something like substantially financial for somebody other than yourselves. Like, I don't believe it. Like, because like you said, there wasn't enough money anyways.
I mean, listen, if you're in a punk rock band, I mean, being in the band is what you do for yourself, but you're definitely not going to be making any money doing it. But I don't know.
Well, what it sounds to me like they're saying is that they put themselves out by doing this stuff for other people. That's my issue with it. Is that I don't believe that they were put out by anything that they did. I don't think that they now did they go to a protest? Okay, but they were going to do that even without the band probably because they're that kind of person. Did they give some canned goods to a food bank? Okay, that's not putting themselves out, but they're acting as if they did some like great gesture, and it's like, dude, stop, man. Like, did you do some cool shit? When someone starts trying
to nail themselves to any crosses, I'm kind of like, hey, man, like, and by the way, I should acknowledge that there are exceptions to absolutely everything.
Yeah, that's something everybody needs to know.
I meet people who truly are just like
assholes. Oh.
Well,
no, I'm just playing. I'm playing.
The opposite side of the spectrum.
I know.
Like,
I know.
We're just who'll give more than they take, and I think that I'm always inspired by people like that, 100%. And like so, but there's a middle ground. You got to eat, so there's got however that comes about, But you don't have to eat well,
right?
But you got to stay alive.
No, but like I just and maybe there's like some miscommunication between like what Nitty meant when he said that and then what I understood it to mean. That's a possibility. But I really hate, like, I get weirded out by just saying that I was nice to Kim at a concert. That made me feel a little uncomfortable. So you'll never catch me being like, I gave away all my money this weekend to some charitable causes. And I've done plenty of charitable work. I don't talk about it a lot because I feel like that's kind of the thing that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do it, and then, like, maybe you'll talk with your friends about it, maybe your family. Maybe I'll bring it up because I want people to join me. But I don't go and, like, that's not the point. The point is just to do it, right? Unless I'm tripping, the point is to help.
Hey, listen.
I don't know.
Most of us, if we do something generous, it makes us feel good.
Right.
And that's the payoff, But at the end of the day, you gotta eat.
Right. It just irks me when people act like they get on this, like, look at what I did thing, and it's like, bro, I get it, man. Anarchists are better than everybody. I get it, man. You didn't take nothing for yourself. You're a communist. You gave it to everybody else. You did all this work and you gave all your stuff to everybody. You didn't own anything. You're a minimalist. You didn't have but one shirt. You didn't take but one shower a month. I get it. You're cool, man. It just irritates me because it's so fucking dumb.
It's just sort of like, hey, man, I can respect that, but just don't throw shade my way if I'm living a little differently than you, or...
Well, like you said, the way that he approached the conversation was super sideways, bro. You could have just been like, yo, check this out. When I was young, I did it like this.
Well, he approached the conversation with an argument, and that's not a conversation.
Correct. All I'm saying is that I do get, like, really quick. I'm aware of this.
No.
I know, right? It's weird. But, like, I calm down really quick, but I'm also receptive to, like changing my mind. And you've seen this a million times. All you gotta do is be polite. That's my only requirement, that if you're gonna talk to me, that it's just be polite. You can argue with me if you're not just screaming in my face. You can tell me I'm wrong if you just don't call me a piece of shit for it. But, like, I hear that comment all the time about, you should do your research, as if I didn't do some research. It drives me nuts, man.
Listen, like, for me, when you tell me these things, I'm reminded of why I could never do a YouTube channel. Only, like, I like the community idea of it.
Right.
But the second trolls and arguments and, like, do your research, it's like, man, I can do all the research in the world. I'm not going to know everything about everything. I'm going to present it the best way I know how, with what little working knowledge I have about it. But I mean, I could tell you or give you a biography as detailed as I can remember of any band I've been in. And even if you were going to present that, there'd still be volumes of stories missing.
Right.
There'd still be context missing in certain things. There's, you know, like...
Well, if I'm really brutally honest with myself, he wasn't, like, really rude. I just hate the whole go do your research thing. It's 2:42 a.m. That is part of the reason I reacted the way I did. Tomorrow morning, I probably would have read that and been like, whatever, man. And just, like, I wouldn't even asked him to send me anything, honestly, because I don't really care. But, like, I do a lot of work, man. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of stuff. I have a terrible memory, and I don't know everything. And it's like, you know, I don't let the troll stuff bother me much. It really doesn't. It bothers me in the moment for about 5 seconds, and then I'm on to whatever else I'm doing, because that's just how my brain works. I'm glad I don't hold on to stuff, because like you said, it would bother you. It would bother my wife too. She wouldn't deal with it very well. I don't
walk around operating with a lot of self-esteem to begin with, and so, like, I guess I'm fragile in that regard. Like, and by the way, that line was like, I was trying to think of, it's, all these things try to bring me down. I can get there on my own.
Huh.
You know, like, that's sort of where I live, and like, it could be like 20 people, like, who are friendly and complimentary, but the one person,
okay, but that's not
who's gonna tell me that I suck or that I'm stupid or whatever.
Just so you know, that is literally every YouTuber, dude. We all are like, man, I got 112 nice messages, but I got one guy that just said you suck and it ruined my whole day. That's everybody. That's not that. That's normal. But I think that I have anxiety and self-esteem issues too. We deal with them a little different. Like, I over-ask and over-explain everything. Like, I constantly, like, I'm certain that Vanessa, for some reason, if you're watching this, from Punk Rock Bowling Bro, I asked that poor woman so many questions just to, like, double, triple, quadruple check things, like, and I'm always feel like I'm bothering people, so I over-apologize for shit. Like, I'm always like, man, I'm so sorry. People are like, no, I wasn't bothered at all. And I'm like, yeah, I felt like I was bothering you. That's dumb. Now you're bothering me, you know? So I get it. We deal with it a little different. I just really enjoy... It's not even the people that are watching it that I enjoy so much. I happen to enjoy the community I'm building.
Yeah.
But I do all this because I just like doing it. Like, if there was nobody watching it, because there wasn't for a while, I would have done it anyways. But
well, it's the same with music. I mean,
it's exactly the same.
Meaning, like, I'm nearly 50.
That's so crazy.
I'm not about to become a popular punk mainstay for anyone.
No?
Like,
I think so.
But I don't know, or rather, well, I don't know how not to make music because it's the release valve, it's the journal, it's the shrink, it's the I'm gonna get all this shit since the last time I wrote this down.
Yes, I feel you on that.
And Ben and I have talked about it, and I mean that's why the record was called Lifer, because it was just sort of recognizing that, like, yeah, we're old as fuck and people may not give a shit, but we're gonna do this anyway. Like, for us, like, hopefully other people like it, but if they don't, it doesn't matter, because we need this
Right.
part of that part of your life. It's like, I don't think I've been that dedicated to fucking anything in my life as I have music, writing, playing, recording, like, and it's more for me than it is anyone else.
Dude,
you know,
the videos are therapeutic for me, just like the music is for you, man.
No.
I'll have a bad day. I mean, look, I just went on like a 5-minute rant, and I'm like back to like level 0. I need that kind of outlet. Not necessarily.
You need a place to put it.
Right, not necessarily because of
Whatever
a comment.
it is, good, bad, and otherwise.
Yeah, like I would have gotten to that extreme level regardless of a comment, but like just my everyday life, I need somewhere to put it. I need to, like, oh man, this new record I just found. Oh man, I'm having a really bad day. Oh, I got a flat tire today, or oh dude, today we had a new child and my life is some, you know, or whatever, dude. Like I need that, and I never in my wild, dude. I remember the first time that I ever watched a YouTube video. I watched 2 things in one day at my, shout out B Rich, if you see this, bro, I miss you, dog. That's my dude, man. I love that guy. I was at his house and he had a old, you know, dial-up. This is probably, maybe it wasn't dial-up, but it wasn't what we have now. It was old internet, in between dial-up and what we got now. But it was like 2007, maybe? What year did YouTube come out?
Couldn't tell you.
Let me see. This will help me figure out when this was.
I was in all of Born to Lose until about the last few years. I was too broke to have a computer, even a cheap one. So
I understand that.
I had friends who were online, but like, well, I say that I got my sweet Sidekick, my teenage girl phone.
Yes, dude. Shout out Sidekick.
The whole band was making fun of me, but like, that's when we found, like, we were on the road before Sweet Misery came out, and that's how we found out that the European label was called I Used to Fuck People Like You in Prison Records.
That's a wild.
Because I was on the internet on my little fucking teenage girl phone.
Yeah, dude, those phones were awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it was like 2007 maybe? 2008?
Probably, I don't know.
No, it came out in like 05. I'm saying like whenever I discovered it was like 2007, 2008. And I watched, let's see, I can actually give you actually a pretty accurate date because I can tell you what this was when it came out. Let's see. Shit, I guess it was 2006, man, when this was happening to me. Let me see what year Kimbo Slice came out.
Oh, I remember those, the backyard fights.
Yup. Let's see what years were those. Let's see, what did, no. Kimbo Slice, what year? This is making for riveting television.
You're welcome.
So yeah, I guess it was like 2006 or so. There was this rapper called The Game, and he had a song with Lil Wayne, and my boy Richard was like tripping out of this video, and we watched that, and then within a few minutes he was like, "Oh, have you heard about this guy that beats the shit out of people in backyards?" And he showed me Kimbo Slice and coincidentally Jorge Masvidal, who became a UFC fighter and almost a champion, and like he's got the record for the fastest knockout. He became a huge star, but I knew that guy. I didn't know him. I knew of that guy.
Is that the guy with the cornrows?
Yeah. He jumped, knee. Oh shit!
Yeah,
sorry.
It was like the
Bit
fastest
Askren.
knockout or something.
Need that wrestler. He ran across the cage and kneed him. But like, I watched him fight in a backyard too, and I didn't know who he was really back then. But I recognized him, and then when I saw him in the UFC, I was like, oh shit, I know this guy. And but like, that's like the first videos I ever saw on the internet, really. And outside of like pornography, And that's all the internet was good for a long while. Still kind of is, honestly. But I watched those, and like I remember I used to watch hella YouTube when my kids were really little, and I was like, I would get up and back before Joe Rogan was a right-wing grifter, he was like a pretty liberal-minded guy, and he had on like a lot of weird people doing weird shit, talking weird stuff, taking weird drugs, and I used to love that guy's podcast. I would watch it while I was making my kids breakfast. I'd make them like, you know, bacon, eggs, waffles. And I made breakfast every day, so like before Hurricane Harvey. Like, if you'd have told me at any point in all those years, like, hey, you're going to make a YouTube video, just a YouTube video, I'd have been like, why? What? No way. Because I didn't even want to sing on a stage. I'm supposed to make a fucking video.
I've never wanted to sing on stage.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, but you do it now. And, like, I make videos now, and it's like, it just is what it is.
It's every bit as terrifying as it always was. Like, once it gets started, I remember that, like, oh yeah, I love this shit. But, like,
the lead up to it,
like, I'll be pacing, I'll be like,
there's a lot of parallels to what we do, I guess. I never really thought about it because I have those same anxiety-ridden feelings when I'm like getting ready to film like a audio, like a voiceover, and I'm like, dude, is this going to be good? Or are people going to shit on me like this guy? Is this guy going to tell me I didn't do enough research? Like, every video I do, I hate watching them. I'm like, no, just if you like it, you like it. Like, it's the same kind of feelings.
No, it's just, and you're getting either instant gratification or instant letdown because like people are either looking at you or they're like checking their watches. You know, like
on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
I don't know, and then like if you're the singer, you worry about, oh, my voice was okay yesterday. I don't know if it's going to be okay today. You just never know. I mean, sometimes you know. You wake up and you're like, oh, this is going to be a rough one. And that is, like, terrifying. When you get up on stage and you know you got to do an hour and you have no voice, and I got to look people in the eye, well...
I don't think I ever did an hour. That's a long time.
Well, like, we didn't... During the States, they always wanted half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
The first trip to Europe was after our first or second show, and our tour manager came up to us and was like, dude, tell me you guys have more songs. Like,
we'll run the set twice.
Like, yeah, why? He was like, dude, like if they pay for a ticket, they're expecting an hour. And we're like, well, Born to Lose had been a band for 6 years. We had 50 songs. And I mean, like,
and everybody's sitting down trying to rewrite a new set list.
Well, no, I mean, we were trying to be polite and not presumptuous.
Right.
Like,
No, I can see that.
A 12, maybe 15 song set, and it was like, yeah, bro,
That's
what
a
do you...
fucking long set, dude.
Dude, there were some nights we played for 2.5 hours.
Good grief.
And
I would have loved that as a fan.
Well, I don't know, man. Fuck me, man.
Dude, that's funny.
I got, like, we were playing one night in Poland. And
that's so cool to even be able to say that.
I was mad at Ben that night because...
Damn it, Ben, what'd you do?
Well, we played, it was a small place, and the stage was not very deep, so, like, the drum kit is behind me by about a foot.
That's rough.
And there was this little rail, like, at the front of the stage. It wasn't a barricade, just a little, like rail. And the fucking room was pure energy, but it was rough. And, like, so I kept getting pushed back. Like, the next day I had bruises all over my back, and it was from falling into the kick drum over and over again.
Damn.
Housen was playing bass, and his input jack got ripped out. Not the cord, the fucking whole input jack got pulled out of his bass.
Out of his guitar?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And, you know, the crowd was into it, and...
I bet they were.
But, like, we did a long set. We probably played 20 to 30 songs. And they were like calling for an encore, and so
that's so crazy.
We do an encore, and then they keep calling for another. So we do a second one, and after the second one, I look over at Ben because like there's not AC in a lot of these rooms over there.
I can only imagine.
So and I look at Ben and I'm like, dude, I'm done.
Like, start playing another song.
And he's like, you guys want to hear another one? And like. And we start playing, and like we did 2 more songs, And on the second song, I was so, I guess, overheated. I don't know, but like, I collapsed. Like, my knees just gave out. I like fell down on the stage, and I was like 100% conscious, but I could not sit up.
Oh.
And like, so everyone rushes to the stage. They're pouring water all over me and down my throat. And it took about 2 minutes before I could get my legs under control, stand up. I just like went to the
that's
back.
Crazy.
Went to the back, and Ben comes back there, and I'm like, motherfucker, when I tell you we're done, because it scared me. Like, that shit had never happened to me.
That would be terrifying.
I've been, like, there have been times where you're in a hot room and you're playing a long set, and you start to get the tunnel vision holding that note out, and you're like, okay, just get to the end of the note before it goes completely black, and you just, like, keel over.
That's what was happening at Vegas, is that tunnel vision shit.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, I mean, but when my legs didn't work,
that's terrifying.
I was like, I can't make my body move. Like, this is like...
Bro.
And it's not like I was paralyzed. I was laying down.
It was exhaustion, probably.
And I could not fucking move. And, I mean, probably dehydration and all of it. But, and it's not like we were living well on the road. But, I mean...
You ain't hit up a bunch of anarchists? They could have fed you.
Dude, we played a lot of anarchist fucking places. It was just,
I'm being
it was funny.
facetious.
You had like, because they got a bunch of youth centers in Europe, which is really.
I'm feeling like I may have been wrong about this actually. Now that you're talking, the more
Well,
you're talking, the more I'm thinking like, okay, fine, you gave a bunch of shit away.
Well, no, we
Good
had
for you.
like what's funny is like you had youth centers, so it was like kids, and it was cool because like those places, think of like a boys or girls club if they had like not just sports but music, art, writing. Hell, some of these youth centers taught people how to ride a unicycle.
That's
and do,
crazy.
And do
Seriously?
circus stuff. They have like a tightrope that was only like this tall off the ground, but just so
That's
people
cool
could like
though.
learn how to
practice
do
it.
Like
Tightropes are scary.
and you know, in a lot of those countries, it's like 16 is the drinking age for beer.
Okay.
So like, they could go to the youth center. They could get a beer. They could.
That is a wild statement.
Like,
they go to the youth center and they get a beer.
Yeah, I mean, like, so it was almost like a supervised, but like kids, a lot of punk rock kids, they just lived at the youth centers, and so we play a lot of those.
Makes sense.
And then you had what were kind of like the grown-up youth centers, which were like these these punk rock commune spots.
Bunch of broke ass adults.
Yeah, I mean they all lived there, but like I don't know, like clubs that were kind of illegal in the sense that nobody owned the place, but like nobody
like a
fucked
good
with
time.
them, so they'd throw shows there.
Okay, interesting.
Like there was this place called the Bunker in Bocholt, Germany.
Okay.
And it was literally like you walked into, not the sewers, but you were basically like walking in underneath the streets into this like
That's kind of
underground.
awesome, dude.
And it was this place called the Bunker, rightly so. And I was just talking to people that night, and it was our very first tour, and I was like, so what's the story of this club? They're like, well, technically it's an illegal club. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, well, the city technically owns this spot, they just don't fuck with us, so we
use it.
like it's a venue basically.
That's
you know,
awesome.
like, but I don't know, like
I want to go over there, man. Like all the nonsense aside, I want to go there and check that place out. Like I say that place, like all of Europe. I want to go there because they've got like different kinds of roads. They've got different kinds of buildings, stuff I'll never see anywhere over here. Like you have to go there to see this kind of stuff. I want to just go look at it, and I want to go to see places like that, like under the ground, like. Dude, like hostels and shit, just don't. That's not how we do things here. And I want to go visit that stuff, and yeah, man, I want to go just see that kind of life.
people are friendly. I didn't want to jinx anything while we were over there, but it was like we were kind of weirded out. We're like, why the fuck is everyone like treating us nicely and feeding us, and
Why are they being nice to
and
us?
promoters do their job, and like
Yeah, the touring I hear is just night and day.
well, they basically, somebody, and this was a European, but I don't know if this is true, but they were like, well, if it dates back to the days of touring minstrels, you know, like, if, like, you know, musicians who would travel, like, think of, like, old castle days and shit, but, you know,
Yeah.
like a musician would, or musicians would come in and play, you know, or whatever, and it was expected that whomever was hosting these musicians would feed them, give them a place to sleep.
Oh, okay, I
whatever.
didn't know that.
And I don't know if that's true, but that's what this European guy told me. He was like, no, it's just if you come to play music, then it is our obligation to let you have, you have a place to crash and you have food and, whatever you need within poor people reason, and it was like, we felt spoiled rotten compared to the first 5 years touring the States.
Yeah.
Where it was like, you're just begging for that dollar off a PBR drink ticket.
Hey, bro.
When you don't have $1 in your pocket.
I've heard that from a number of people. You want to go listen to that Misfits record before we go to bed? I'm getting tired. It's like 3 o'clock. Cool. All right, we're going to stop this right here. Thank you for hanging out with us and letting me gripe and complain for a few minutes. Learn me something, all right? Come on. We're going to go listen to that Misfits record and get a copyright strike. So we will see you in a minute. I'm not actually going to let you hear it unless you're on Patreon because I don't want a copyright strike. But, whatever. I'm tired and sleepy. I'm sleepy. Bro, the older I get, the more I realize I'm old.